As a Chinese immigrant who has become American citizen and then lived here for about 17 years, I gotta say, this is a great video we can react to and talk about what the Chinese think about American democracy or democracy in general. I think you hear this word a lot, especially now when you start learning politics. Doesn't matter who, right? If you're coming into America, if you're international students studying here, and you probably hear this word a lot on TV or on the internet. A lot of us don't watch TV anymore, but on the internet, democracy is on the line. Everybody says it. Every single politician. I never knew what it means because it never had any impact to my life. The thing that had impact in my life, tuition, and also gas prices. Right? Gas is finally dropping now, so which is really good. Strait of Hormuz is open. Heard big news. So today, we got a great video to watch, which is why Socrates hated democracy. Because I thought everybody loves it here. But there's a video about why one of the most famous philosopher hated democracy. Let's take a look.
We're used to thinking very highly of democracy, and by extension, of ancient Athens, the civilization that gave rise to it. The Parthenon has become almost a byword for democratic values, which is why so many leaders of democracies like to be photographed there.
By the way,
it's therefore very striking to discover that
Obama is like an idol in China. Everybody knew about Obama. Like, he's pretty cool, right? Everybody knew about him because he's also very historical. The first half black, half white president. People just knew him as a black president in China. But yeah, like everybody knew about him. He's pretty popular.
Ancient Greece's greatest achievements, philosophy, was highly suspicious of its other achievement, democracy. The founding father of Greek philosophy, Socrates, is portrayed in the dialogues of Plato as hugely pessimistic about the whole business of democracy.
Really? By the way, I'm interested to know, like, how many of y'all actually know about, remember anything about Socrates? My memory sucks. Like, I'm 30 something. I just can't remember anything about literature. I guess this is not my thing. I still remember like engineering, physics, like chemistry, mathematics, right? But when it comes to literature, I just can't remember anything. So this type of stuff, I probably learned in school, but I just don't remember it. So hearing this for the first time is actually not first time. This time, it's like hearing it for the first time. But I don't know if I'm actually hearing it for the first time. What about you? Leave a comment down below because I just feel stupid most of the time.
In Book 6 of the Republic, Plato describes Socrates falling into conversation with a character called Adimantus and trying to get him to see the flaws of democracy by comparing a society to a ship. If you were heading out on a journey by sea, asks Socrates, who would you ideally want deciding who was in charge of the vessel? Just anyone, or people educated in the rules and demands of seafaring? The latter, of course, says Adimantus. So why then, responds Socrates, do we keep thinking that any old person should be fit to judge who should be the ruler of a country?
That is so true. See, that is so true. And the U.S. is a constitutional republic, Everybody knew that. So, if you want to become a U.S. citizen, you have to study, and I studied, take the test. And also I studied in school or studied before I came. But yeah, it's a constitutional republic where we elect representatives to represent us. I just don't think that's working, to be honest, right? Like, think about what's happening. Austin's getting a lot better. I think Austin's representatives are doing a really good job. But if you think about on a national level, especially think like key cities in LA or Chicago, people are dying. In LA, there's human feces everywhere everywhere you want to go. So like, I don't know if people actually wanted that. Like, I just doubt it, right? I don't really care about politics. I just don't know. If you live there, like, how many of our viewers actually live there, right? Like, are you actually happy with it? I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt it, but I don't live there permanently. I lived in LA probably for about a year because of work. And I hated it, right? Like, I couldn't go outside. Every time I go there for a project, visit a client, I have to be really careful, to not travel alone. But sometimes I have to. I just make sure I drive. It's risky. I don't know. I just don't know like who is still in charge and how are you guys keeping voting them in there, right?
Socrates' point is that voting in an election is a skill, not a random intuition.
True.
And like any skill, it needs to be taught systematically to people. Letting the citizenry vote without an education is as irresponsible as putting them in charge of a trireme sailing to Samos in a storm.
But how would you educate people, like, in terms of voting, though? Like, most people just don't care about politics. I certainly don't care. I mean, I only vote because we pay taxes, and I feel like we should have our voice heard, right? In a way where, like, I don't want to see tents under highways. I want to see clean streets. That's what I want to see. That's stuff that actually that's like relate to my life. Or I don't want to see like tipping culture going crazy. I don't know if that's something government can do, but like those are actually going crazy. And I was doing some research. It started from slavery a long time ago, or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't sure exactly how tipping culture become a thing, but it's getting crazy now in Austin. But back to what I was saying, the only reason I vote is because stuff that's related to my life. I'm not sure if I'm educated in it. What does it even mean? Does it mean, like, how do you judge somebody's education on voting? I think that's kind of weird. Or maybe it's just your educational level, or you have a certain level of contribution to the society. Maybe that's considered as education. I'm not sure.
Socrates was to have first-hand catastrophic experience of the foolishness of voters. In 399 BC, the philosopher was put on trial on trumped-up charges of corrupting the youth of Athens.
Damn.
A jury of 500 Athenians was invited to weigh up the case and decided by a narrow margin that the philosopher was guilty. He was put to death by hemlock in a process which is, for thinking people, every bit as tragic as Jesus' condemnation has been for Christians.
Whoa. Damn, I don't remember any of it, but that sounds tragic. God damn, imagine you got voted to death. Whoa. I mean, that's the danger of it, to be honest, right? Where everybody, what he says makes complete sense in a way that you don't want everybody who have no idea how to pilot a ship to vote the captain or the pilot of a plane. You want the most knowledgeable. I guess the only thing is, like, who judge the knowledge? Like, how do you judge? Like, do we all have to take a voting class? Kind of like, when you get a ticket, like a traffic ticket, you take a class online about, how to drive properly. I guess, like, is that it? How does it work, to get the education for voting?
Crucially, Socrates was not elitist in the normal sense. He didn't believe that a narrow few should only ever vote. He did, however, insist that only those who had thought about issues rationally and deeply should be let near a vote. We have forgotten this distinction between an intellectual democracy and a democracy by birthright. We have given the vote to all without connecting it to wisdom.
True. Like in America, it's like everybody can vote, which is a good thing. But at the same time, should everybody vote, right? In my opinion, like, that's such a good question, because in my previous video, I mentioned we don't even allow kids to drink under the age of 21, and yet we allow everybody to vote. And there are a lot of debates about how teenagers or teens or people who are 18 years old, how immature they are, how they can't make their own decisions, how their brains are not fully developed or grown. And yet we allow them to participate in deciding the future of the direction, or the future of the society, right? Direction of the society. Like, that's obviously inconsistent logic, in my opinion, because it doesn't make any sense. So how do you decide, who gets to vote? Because, like, I feel like it's a very thin line between educated on voting or thought about voting and elitism, or to decide this top few community can vote. And that sounds scary, obviously, right? So, like, how do you decide that?
And Socrates knew exactly where that would lead, to a system the Greeks feared above all: demagoguery. Ancient Athens had painful experience of demagogues. For example, the louche figure of Alcibiades, a rich, charismatic, smooth-talking, wealthy man who eroded basic freedoms and helped to push Athens to its disastrous military adventures in Sicily. Socrates knew how easily people seeking election could exploit our desire for easy answers.
Demagoguery. So basically, like, from what I'm understanding, is like sweet talker. In a way, there are quite a few sweet talkers. Trump is definitely one of them. He's really good at communicating. He communicates very simple ideas, and he repeats them so people understand it. And if you think about a lot of politicians, they're still talking very fancy. I can never understand what they're saying. But also, Bernie Sanders, another really good example of really good at communication. He makes the point so simple that it's almost misleading. Like, similar to Trump. You just understand them more easily, right? Like, that's a really good communicator. But a lot of the time, I think the politicians, I think that they can leverage it um, and just manipulate people. I mean, because truthfully, I just don't know how the same politicians are governing those cities that have like homeless problem just keep on getting worse and people getting shot every day. Like how that's still allowed, like America is supposed to be the leader of the free world, and it's not setting a good example, especially with the top cities. Austin's doing great. Austin's getting a lot better day after day. I love it. I love it here. I think Austin will continue to get better and probably become like a better city than. I don't know if Austin can ever become better than LA because LA is taxing like the weather. The geological advantage, the geographical advantage is so high. The fact that you can be there all year long and it's just nice weather. It's something you can't just like surpass. In Austin, we are like extreme hot or extreme cold. They're about 2 to 3 months. That's kind of comfortable. Most of the time, it's either too hot or too cold. In a way, I don't even know why people will buy like buy a yard or like a balcony because you're never gonna go there, right? The only people I see go to the balcony are really, really early in the morning, aka like senior people. If you wake up around 6 a.m., those people go use the balcony, right? But normal adults don't wake up that early. And by the time you wake up, because I experienced it, all my friends are the same. Nobody wake up at the time. By the time we wake up, it's too hot or too cold to use the outdoor, right? You just want to get in the car, go to where you work, and come back. That's literally your commute,
Just to imagine an election debate between two candidates, one who was like a doctor and the other who was like a sweet shop owner. The sweet shop owner would say of his rival, "Look, this person here has worked many evils on you. He hurts you, gives you bitter potions, and tells you not to eat and drink whatever you like. He'll never serve you feasts of many and varied pleasant things like I will." Socrates asks us to consider the audience's response. Do you think the doctor would be able to reply effectively? The true answer, "I cause you trouble and go against your desires in order to help you," would cause an uproar among the voters, don't you?
That is so true. Oh my God, if you think about it, right? Like America is such a fat country. Like everyone's fat and obese, right? The obesity level has hit an all-time high. And right now, there's obviously a MAHA movement, which I fully support because there's something called like SNAP, apparently, right? The food program for people who need help, which is okay. But for the longest, I don't even know this, right? Until this was the coming to light and it was a hot topic recently. People can use SNAP to buy all kinds of stuff, candies, shit food, basically more candies. We'll categorize all of those into candies, okay? Like basically trash food, snack, chips, whatever, which is bad. If you need help for food, you should buy food, like actual food, right? And they're food for cheap. You go to Walmart, really good meat, low fat, just meat for really cheap. You can get a membership in Costco and get really good quality meat. Walmart, same thing. H-E-B, all those food are really good quality. And you can buy those food, like whole food or even fruits and vegetables. Those are, I think, what, the government should support. So this is exactly what it is, right? Like the sweet talk politician will say, "I'll give you everything." Look at me. Look at those people. They're trying to cut your programs. But look at me. I'll give you everything, right? I will give you all the money you need to buy all the food you need. I'll give you free everything. That's exactly what they're describing here, but what Socrates was saying. Where the other side, the actual doctors who need to fix the problem, they understand, okay, well, in order to solve your obesity is to stop eating candy. So it would make sense then for us to stop funding your candy, right? Or it would make sense for us to do something healthier, but it's going to cause you pain because for somebody who is obese and fat, they're going to eat cake and candy all the time. And someone all of a sudden come in and be like, I don't want, I'm going to take away your candy. Bro, they will kill you before you're letting you take their candy away or cake. Like that's just what it is, right? So this is such a good, I never thought about it this way, right? This makes a lot of sense.
You think? We have forgotten all about Socrates' salient warnings against democracy. We have preferred to think of democracy as an unambiguous good rather than as something that is only ever as effective as the education system that surrounds it. As a result, we have elected many sweet shop owners and very few doctors.
Yeah. California's governor. That guy is a crook, right? Like that guy just looked like the best sweet talker in the world. And I don't know, I think the reason why I think I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but the reason why I think there has to be fraud, like anyone with any common sense will agree, is like, why is this guy still in office? Look at California. He constantly claimed credits, because I follow him on X. I was like, but then there are people respond to it and they're like, oh, that makes sense. Because all the stuff he claims will be there with or without him. Like, you just put a stone there and just don't change anything. The tech company that was there are still going to be there, right? Like look at Jensen Huang. He said, you can tax me all you want. I'm still going to stay here because he loves the weather. He doesn't care how much money you take away from him. Most rich people probably think we're in a very similar way. They really care about the standard of living, which is what California is taxing, in my opinion, right? So, and then this guy is claiming all the credit. Look, all the tech companies still here. By the way, Texas just surpassed California with Fortune 500 companies. How many Fortune 500 companies are in the States, right? It's slowly declining. But with all the stuff that's happening in Cali, the guy's still in office. With all the fire that's happening in LA, the Karen Bass still in office. So I don't know. I don't know if the voting is, it's hard to not be suspicious of what is happening, right? That's why I'm a heavy advocate too. I mean, obviously, I'm not a tech person, but I understand the fundamental idea of what blockchain is, which is to put voting on blockchain. So there's absolutely no fraud. You know exactly who's voting, but you somehow make a technology where the end result, where who they voted, how they voted, is anonymous. Well, it's hidden, but everybody is voting on a blockchain. Because we're kind of already doing it in a way, anyways. They know you're voting. They just don't know what you voted, right? That we can move that to blockchain, where this way there's no fraud. It's pseudonymous, right? And I think it's worth the electricity that's spent, right? Because we spend a lot of resources in voting anyways. So spend that in electricity. It's instant counting and it's accountability everywhere. I think that's pretty good, right? But somebody come up with it. If you come up with it, make sure you give me credit. And then, maybe give your boy a cut. Wait, is that it? That's it. But okay, so this is such a good video. I'll link the video in the description down below. I mean, Socrates, man, he's a smart guy, isn't it? I mean, the way it makes so much logical sense, common sense. It's just, I guess the discussion is, how do you decide who gets to vote, right? I had a simple idea before regarding voting, because this discussion will come in our friend circles and we're talking about it over dinner table. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't claim to know everything at all. In fact, I don't know anything, a lot of things, right? I'm just a common sense guy. What about having people who pay taxes to vote, right? Because there's some random age setting, 21 years old for drinking, 18-year-old is an adult. I truly don't understand the full difference between an 18-year-old or 17-year-old, or 18-year-old, 19-year-old, or maybe 21 and 18. Because I grew up drinking with my dad, casually, very casually. I drink probably once a month. I'm never addicted. It's just fun. My dad takes me to dinner tables, introduce me to his social circles, and let me try. He never let me overdrink, and that's the drinking environment I grew up with, and I never get addicted, right? But on the other hand, I come here, I see people get addicted all the time and drink all the time, much heavier than me. In fact, that's a question I get asked. How often do you drink when I go visit hospitals here? That's not a question I get asked on my routine check when I was in China, because it's mostly not an issue to a lot of people. Well, unless you're really a drunk, right? And that's a different. But obviously, if you're drunk, they would just ask you. What I mean is, coming back to voting, right? Should it be where if you contribute towards society, not as an elite, because everybody pay taxes, almost everybody pay taxes. But they say 50%, the bottom 50% pay 3% of the taxes, or 1%. It was something extremely low, right? So either way, if you just pay $1 into the tax system, you get a vote. I think basically the idea is you have to contribute to the society. You have to have something to lose. I feel like free stuff is never good. If something's given for free, you probably recognize that you don't value it at all. It's thrown somewhere, you don't use it again. Think about the last free item you got. How often do you still use it? You probably don't. You don't even value it. Throw it away. It's free. Who cares? But every time when there's like a dollar, in fact, I believe there was like some psychology test being done about this, like a lot of study done about this. If there is some stake in it, you value that a lot. And I think voting should be treated with certain level of respect, right? Just like, because it decides a country's trajectory, the direction of where this ship is going. And in America being like the leader of the free world, I think it should be treated with even more respect, right? More level of caution. And then it would make sense in my head that people who contribute towards society then should vote. But again, this is a very simplified answer, and I only have simplified answer because I'm a common sense dude. So what's your thoughts about a good system for voting, or, to avoid this from happening, right? Sweet talker, and then the doctor who need to give you the hard medicine, but that's actually helpful for you. So what's your answer for this, right? For the American democracy? Let me know in the comment down below, and I'll see you next time.